Available. There it is. Well, good morning. I think it's live. Hello. Is this live? Oh, hello. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Rabbi Brian. It says so down there. This is the Saturday service. I'm so glad that you're here. I am joined by a group of people who are all on my screen. And if I do the buttons correctly, they should all show up on your screen in a moment. Hold on a moment. I think we said that was button number 5. And here are some of my friends. There they are. Friends, say hi to people who are watching either at a later date or they're watching us live. Either which way. I'll come back to here. This is the Saturday service. It is a different way of thinking about religion. This is a it's like a support group, a 12-step group, a Dharma talk, or a we are here to learn from each other. Good morning, Ruth. Good to see you. I haven't seen you for a while. Glad you're back. And good morning. I got a iPhone and let me thank first off the bat, I want to thank Missy who ran the service last week. It was a delightful service. I had a great time watching it afterwards. So Missy, again, I thank you. I thanked you and I thank you again. I want to thank Alex for running tech last week. Alex is not here this week, but boy, she did a great job. And I want to thank also Maria, who is running tech this week and also put together a wonderful slide Google Doc about joy, which is our topic for today. We'll see if we get to our topic for today, but that waits to be seen. I'm taking a breath of air. I recommend that you do the same. Maria was just reminding me before we went live that you don't need, if the whole breathing slowly is complicated for you, don't worry about the inhales at all. Just see if you can get an exhale every so often. It's complicated to do both inhales and exhales. And look at that. Patricia and Mason are on an iPhone. And I think we're streaming to Facebook, and if somebody can tell us that that's actually happening, I would appreciate it. Do we think it's happening?
I did not see that was happening, but I'm not always sure where I'm supposed to be on Facebook.
Hey, Meg. Hey, Meg.
Hey.
We lost Maria and your host again.
It looks...
I got kicked out. Sorry, it's my internet.
That's all
Candace
right.
says in the chat that Facebook is good.
Oh, thank you, Candace. Look at that. And I even can put up a little thing there. There we go. Candace says Facebook is good. We are here. We're live. Let's make this happen. I apologize. Last week, we did not have Facebook working properly. Something has to be broken or it's not, we're not doing it right. I wanted to share with you a little meme that I got this week. It looks like this.
Okay. Sorry. Make me host again quickly.
I will make you host again. Here's the little meme up on the screen. It says where you are and where you need to be. And those seem to be the same exact place. Where you are and where you seem to be. Has anyone found that they are anywhere other than there?
You want an opinion or an honest answer?
Well, let me. It might not be where we want to be.
Oh, well, that excludes my opinion.
I'm gonna come to your opinion in a moment, Joe. I wanted to start before that with a moment for humanity. I got an email, a text message, and I'm going to put it up on the screen as soon as I can find it. Oh, here it is. There it is. I was exchanging Father's Day memes with a buddy of mine, and this was the meme, and then he wrote, Happy Papa Day to you too. And then yesterday he sent me, it says today, but that was yesterday, he sent me, so I've been calling my dad every evening. Karen, who's his sister, how I know him, Karen, he writes, takes the morning call. Their mom has just died. That's the background to this story. He says, so I've been calling my dad every evening. Karen takes the morning call. Sometimes of late, he's been saying, I feel really sad and I don't really feel like doing anything. So then I turn on the TV or try to do something to make myself feel better. So on the last call, I asked him, have you actually just tried being sad? And then he wrote, how'd I do? So I want to take this two pieces at a time. One, Dad was sad. And this gentleman asked me, it said to his father, have you ever tried just being sad? How many of us have had a feeling recently that we didn't want to feel, and so we did everything to distract ourselves from feeling? I got at least almost everyone's hands going up. Everyone's had this feeling of not wanting to feel exactly how you're feeling. What'd you do instead of feeling the feeling? What'd you do? Distract. Emily, thank you for sharing. You didn't want to feel a feeling. Do you remember what feeling it was that you didn't want to feel, so you distracted yourself?
Sorrow.
Yeah. And you didn't want to feel sorrow, so you distracted yourself.
Yeah, I did. And then I just sat in my swing and just felt sad. And that worked.
What does that mean? What do you mean it worked?
It worked because I just went into it. I went into it, and then all of a sudden I started looking around and noticing some other things, and I forgot about being sad.
Because you really felt sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah. We had that a few weeks ago. We talked about that feelings often only last for 90 seconds. If you just feel it for the full 90 seconds, sometimes it can end. Now, there are exceptions to that, and we'll get to that in a moment. Anyone else want to share about... I have it on this gentleman who wrote to me. He was so proud of himself for giving his dad that advice. And what I didn't ask him back was, so did you sit in your own sadness too? No one. There are all these feelings we don't like feeling, so we try to avoid them. Yeah. I want to say, let's take a moment for humanity. And is there a thing like this? And then I responded to this text message. I wrote, oh my God, 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 fucking amazing. And before we get into other people, why did I write that? Why did I write? He wrote, so on the last call I asked my dad, have you actually tried being sad? And then he wrote, how'd I do? And I wrote, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, fucking amazing. Why did I write that? Now, obviously, I know why I wrote that, because I'm the one who wrote that.
Obviously.
Well, at least we would assume I have some idea why I wrote that. Why do you think I wrote this? Why did I write 4 oh my gods and an fucking amazing?
Because sitting feelings is hard. And
say it one more.
Sitting in feelings is hard.
Yeah.
That means that he knows how to sit in feelings, or he could have suggested it to his dad. And he's lost a mommy.
Yeah.
And he still did it and suggested to stay in sad.
Right. And what's my job here?
Mentoring, teaching,
Right?
Peer leader.
Why
Leader.
Yeah. Why did he write? Why did he tell me this? Except to be seen. Go ahead, Harold.
I can't remember all the acronyms. Accept, recognize, understand, and respond.
Yeah, thank you, Harold. Is because to be loving, we have to accept, understand, respond, and then we have one letter that goes at the front of that, which is to see someone. So the reason I wrote that was because he was asking for some love. Why else was he writing? He was asking for some love, so I wanted him to feel seen. I wanted him to feel accepted, understood, and that somebody cared. I didn't ignore it. That being said, go ahead, Maria.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Other than on Facebook, when other people are talking, they're echoing.
Okay. Hold on, Facebook buddies. I predicted this might happen. Hold on. I have at the ready 2 buttons I can click, and that might have fixed it, and it might not have. Anyone else have a moment of wanting to be seen, accepted, understood, and responded to? Anyone else with a report from the field about love? And then Joe, I promise we're going to talk with you, but I want to start with the larger group. Anyone else have a story about being loved? Hey, I have a question. And Joe, I know the answer to this one's for you, so hold back, Joe. Anyone else in this group right now feel like they could use a little extra love?
A whole lot.
Thank you, Pamela. Go ahead, Ruth.
I was in Israel for my grandson's wedding. And as he walked towards the chuppah, he stopped to give me a kiss.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
That is being loved, being excited, being singled out, being noticed. Someone else with a moment of love.
It was very special.
Yeah. And I want to point out something that Ruth just did and Pamela did before her, which is asking to be seen. There's a phrase that says you have to, it's a Chinese aphorism that says, one must stand on a hillside with their mouth open for a very long time before roast duck flies in. You have to stand on a hillside for a very long time for roast duck to fly in. I'm going to tie that back to what we were just talking about. If you want to get a little bit of love, you can stand on the hillside for a very long time to wait for the love to come in, or you can do what Pamela and Ruth just did, and you can say, hey, I want to be seen a little. Anybody else? Folks, I'm the most desperate to be seen of y'all. I run a service so that everyone tunes in and sees me. Hi! Anyone else feel the need to be seen in any way today? Go ahead, Michael. You're on mute though, buddy. So we can see you, we just can't hear you.
No, I don't have anything to say other than I feel that way, and I appreciate, the service and focusing on coming, this whole idea of communicating from your heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of communicating from your heart, Joe, I know you wanted to share something with the group today.
I'll try to do my best. Ken was at the oncology place yesterday, and his cancer's come back.
Oh.
And we know why. Because they found a genetic marker that's untreatable. And they're going to do what they can, but it's a timeline now. And part of me didn't even want to come today, but the rest of me knows I have to be here today. Because I can't do this alone. And eventually I will be alone. And then I'm going to need you more than I need you now. Yeah. And there's many of you that understand death and loss. And so I'm going to be counting on you to help me understand the process. I appreciate that you just want to stand with me in the pain. And I knew the subject was joy coming in. And I thought, how can I address joy?
Joe, who are you speaking about? I'm sorry.
My husband.
What's his name?
Ken.
Ken?
Ken, K-E-N.
Ken.
We've been married for 42 years, and he was diagnosed February 9th, kind of out of nowhere. We did live in a radioactive house for 20 years, so that explains a lot about why it's a very odd mutation of cancer that doesn't have a treatment, because that's what radioactive waste does.
Okay.
And I thought, joy, that would be sad.
Yeah.
We've been in 42 years of joy.
Yeah.
How is he now?
How is he now?
Yeah.
He's no longer treatable.
Is he in the house there now?
No, he decided to go watch our granddaughter play softball.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gonna go find every moment of joy he can.
Yeah.
Because now he knows that his limit to joy with us is real. And I guess that's something I'm learning, like the real hard way, is that all of our moments to access joy are limited.
Yeah.
And I've been telling everybody, go hug the people you love, because the next is never guaranteed. So we're going to do joy the best we can, as long as we can. Thanks for letting me.
Yeah, that's
So, Joe, take a look at the screen. There are all these people who are sending you all the love.
Big hugs. Huge hugs.
Yeah. I'm going to take a moment and remind us, and you might remember Dr. Silk's Dr. Silk's ring theory. And the ring theory says like this: when we're talking about grief, that there are different rings. There's Ken at the inside of the circle and Joe right next to Ken. And the next circle out are their daughters, their grandchildren. And the next ring out are the family, and the next ring out are the close friends, and the next ring out are somewhere in here is the religion outside the box family, and then there are the people who don't know you. And it goes Joe and Ken at the epicenter. And the rule to the ring theory goes like this. Dump out. Comfort in. And it's one of those things that once you know it, it's so obvious, and of course that's how it is, but we didn't all learn this. And the rule is that anyone who's on the inside, if I'm on a more inside of the circle than you are, I can dump out to you. And if you're on the outside, your job is to comfort anyone who's on the inside. And the problems occur when somebody upsets this natural order, and they say, well, and someone on the outside tries to get someone on the inside to take care of them. It doesn't work. Or if somebody on the inside tries to take care of someone on the outside, sometimes we can allow some of that to happen, but not to do too much. I think we could take just sometimes words sound hollow. And I think just taking the time in a moment right now. If you are on Zoom, this is a good time to check the chat, because that's where Joe's address is. And if you could send Joe a note, a card. Joe, we're here. You know that. And we're all so terribly sorry. And with regard to the topic of joy, there's a quote that I was fond of when I taught high school, which said, "There is no lesson in algebra that is so important that it should not be preempted for a lesson in humanity." So if we don't talk about joy today, if we don't do anything else but sit here, and that's fine too.
Rabbi, could I share something?
Go ahead, Pamela.
My husband died quite some time ago. He was a Marine, and he was a lot smarter than I thought he was. He took a trip to Alaska because he always wanted to go salmon fishing with that group up there. Then he bought a boat. And he went out and on the lakes and all by himself and just drifted into the universe, if you will. And one of his favorite things to do, he like gamble. He went to Vegas several times. In other words, he kind of had a party for himself. He was not, believe me, he was very stoic too. So he did not, it wasn't like he was seeking attention or anything. He was a great big strapping guy. And I just thought, you know, especially retrospectively, not when I was in it, that he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew what was going on. And it was kind of like that Norman Cousins thing. You know, and was it him who suggested like watching all the funny videos? Yep. And that, yeah. So my husband was pretty damn smart, I thought. He was taking his own medicine, his own cure. Yeah. It just seemed appropriate to share.
Thank you for sharing a little bit more about yourself, Pamela. Appreciate that. It's something that I'm really thinking on, is that we can only take in love if people know that we want to be loved. And that we have to be a little bit vulnerable at first to ask for the love. Or, yeah. So Joe, mad props to you for telling us that you need help. Joe, question. Well, I know every weekday I meditate at 2 p.m. And when I'm done meditating at about 2:20, I send Joe an emoji. Because that's my time of day to send Joe a little thing so she knows that she's loved. Joe, if other people wanted to be on the daily I want to text Joe an emoji train, would you be okay with that?
Very much okay.
Would you put your phone number in the chat so people could see that?
Oh, she did. It's there.
It's there already. Okay, wonderful. I don't want to broadcast that all onto Facebook and the web. But if you can see that, pick a time of day. You can't do 2:20 weekdays. That's my time. Back off. But pick a time that you know you will regularly remember. It's easy for me to remember when I'm done meditating. Text Joe. Okay, easy. Pick a time of the day, of the week. And you might think, but Joe doesn't even know who I am. Good. I have a special place in my heart for the random love I get from people I wasn't expecting it from. Joe, you all right with some random love from people? Yeah. I think let's take a minute for switch our view. Let's blah 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 blah. Let's take a minute and switch from just the focus here and talk about all the people who we would like to say light and love prayers for. Maria, you have a list of people we want to share prayers for today?
I do. These are the people to whom we are sending light and love. Ken and Joe, Sheridan H., Rita S., Greg, Becky, April, Mia, Maeve, and Andrew, Donnell M. in spirit and Brian C., Carolyn Hyatt, and Lorena. If there is another person in our community to whom we can offer light and love, please put their name in the chat and I will add them to the list in the clubhouse. And for the people who aren't named but who are in our thoughts, we send them light and love as well.
Thank you, Maria. Let's take a minute of time. Thank you all for that minute. Shifting focus to gratitude. And here's the thing. We're adults. We can have more than one emotion at the same time. You can have joy and sadness, and they can live at the same time within us. And we can have joy and sadness and gratitude all at the same time. So that being said, I'd love to have a round. What are you thankful for today? What are you thankful for today, the 22nd of June, or whatever day it is, wherever it is you're watching this? What's one thing for which you are thankful?
My health.
My husband.
Thank you, Meg.
My dog.
Thank you, Emily. Lynn?
I had a gratitude story.
Oh, go ahead, honey.
Okay. I had a friend who was in hospice, who recently passed. And he was a man who didn't express himself all the time. And I was working so hard to bring in his friends and tell stories, and people. Doug Cox, who is a friend of Rabbi's and mine, Drew is very good at graphic art, and I would tell a story, and then Doug would make a picture of it. And he was laughing and talking and being with friends for the 4 weeks that he was in hospice. And when he did pass, he held my hands. I mean, he held, the last time I saw him, he held hands, and I was wearing a mask because his wife told me to wear a mask in the room, and I just made a no in the mask. I just went, and he looked at me and said, "Yeah, I know. I love you too." And he was so grateful that I had brought his friends in, and that he could laugh and talk with them and tell old stories. And I was so grateful for that time with him. And I was grateful to be acknowledged, and also that I did the right thing, I brought his friends in, and it was a success. It was a success. They all got something from it, and he got something from it. So I'm grateful for that experience.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you for doing it and for sharing with us. Someone else. There's lots in the chat being thankful to Joe for just being human. I want you to take that in, Joe. That you're leading by you're giving us an example of what does it mean to be human and to be vulnerable. I'm not going to make anyone show hands, but show of hands, how many of you don't like feeling vulnerable? Okay, good, all of you. But how important
I'm grateful
it is.
we have a place like this to come share what we're going through.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm grateful that we can be vulnerable here.
Yes.
Because the more we do it, the better we get at it.
Wait, we should practice these things?
No.
Let me shift our attention some. There was a quote that I found that, oh, come on, computer. There it is. You don't know, but my monitor keeps turning itself off. And I have to keep turning it back on. And like right this moment, I have no screen in front of me, but I'm pretending like I can see you, but I can't. There, now you're back. So there was a quote that I found, however well this goes, this is going to go. Oh, come on, Brian. Oh my gosh. Here's the quote. This was the quote that I first saw. And now I can't see enough of the other screens to share it. Hold on one second, folks. Input not supported. I've never seen that error before.
Oh.
Okay. Now I'm trying to think of a workaround. You guys can still see me? I got nothing going on.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay. So I have this really fancy setup with 4 different monitors, but it is all collapsed down onto one monitor. And it is really not... Here is the quote. There. There it is. Okay. And I'm gonna start shutting everything else down. The quote says, "You're not healing to be able to handle trauma. You're used to trauma. You're healing to be able to handle the joy." That is why I have had the topic of joy in my head, was because I saw this quote. You're not healing to be able to handle trauma. You're used to trauma. You're healing to be able to handle the joy. And don't you worry, the July 1st newsletter has this quote in it, because I've been thinking a lot about this. You're not healing to be able to handle trauma. You're used to trauma. You're healing to be able to handle the joy. I found my face again. Here, look, that's me on the screen. There's the quote. You're not healing to be able to handle the trauma. You're healing from the trauma to be able to handle joy. Who has a hard time handling joy? Is it going to be the same group of people who don't want to be vulnerable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a hard time handling joy. If you're new around here, I'm not going to explain this, and you're just going to have to take a mulligan, because I want to quickly jump through this. But if I were to ask you about the robbers and the mermaids, oh, that is a mermaid today. I have no idea how that's a mermaid. Oh my God. Oh, here's how you know it's a mermaid. I wrote it.
Looks like a shrimp.
Mermaids. It's a mermaid. And if you know what I'm talking about, because you've been with me when we've done this type of exercise before, you know what it is. But in the topic of joy, here's change, here's not change, here's positives, here's negatives. If this is a little bit too abstract for you, that's all right. That's all right. I'm not clearly teaching it. But can you tell me, for joy, if you were to have more joy in your life, what would you lose? And what's the new problem that you might have that you never had before? If you were to have more joy in your life, I'm very curious, what would you have to give up? And what are you afraid you would get? And I will tell you, I don't have good answers for this one. Go ahead, Jack. If you were to have more joy, or if we were to have more joy, we might lose something and we might have a new problem. What do you got, Jack?
Not to take it for granted.
Where am I putting that? You're right. If I were to have more joy, I might that could be a new problem of realizing that I've been taking it for granted. I see. It's that aha moment. I've been taking things for granted for a long time. So I'm going to it's like a credit card bill where you just don't want to look at the interest payment, and I'm just not going to look at it. And so if I don't look at it, it won't grow. Go ahead, Al.
Yeah, I just realized that if I let more joy into my life, then I have to give up the comfort of my victimhood. I might be happy.
Don't try this at home, folks. Go ahead, Dolly.
Well, something more concrete, more joy. If I worked less, I'd have more joy because I'd have less stress. But that would mean that I would have less money, which could lead to having problems paying bills.
So if you had more, but you're setting up you added something in there that said that in order to have joy, you'd have to work less.
I am happiest when I am traveling, when I am...
Wait a minute, Dolly. Were you just in Portland, Oregon, and did we have lunch together?
Oh,
yes, we did.
Dolly.
Yes, it was wonderful.
So how can you... The question I'd have is, how do you find... Well, let's have a larger discussion about joy. From where does joy spring? Think about that question and let's see if we have anything more on the robbers and mermaids. But what's the source of joy?
Internal.
My
Gratitude.
Gratitude? Gratitude is a source of joy. I love that. I
Being
had
in
some... Here, I have a quote. I'm going to try to bring up on the screen. It says, hold on. I got to change back to this screen. There's the quote. Oh, and there go my screens again. Okay, so I'm going to do the thing where I stall for a moment. Happiness is a solid and joy is a liquid. Okay, this is not literal, but I think he's trying to get to something there. Joy is a liquid. What does that mean?
Slippery. Hard to pin down.
Hard to hold.
Yeah.
It just shakes.
Fleeting.
Happiness is a solid, joy is a liquid. That joy is, what everyone just said. It's slippery. We don't hold on to it so well.
It reminds me of he who captures the joy as it flies will live in eternity's sunrise.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
Say that again.
The one who captures the joy as it flies will live in lives in eternity's sunrise.
Oh, okay.
That adds in it adds in that joy is flying. So joy is a liquid, joy is in flight. Joy is not a solid thing.
Yeah, you gotta grab it before it gets out of the picture.
Here's a quote. I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service, and I acted, and behold, service was joy.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Bingo.
Ooh, wow.
I slept and dreamt that life was joy. Oh, I'm going to be happy all the time. But that doesn't work like that. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted, I did the things that I was supposed to do, and behold, service was joy. I have a litany of older white men with their hands raised. Let me go John, then Michael, then Bob.
One of the main elements that came out of the Dalai Lama conference was, and it underscores so much of what he does, loving kindness.
Yeah.
Is an under theme of pretty much everything he did. And basically, where it goes along with joy is, it's a surrendering of the ego.
Joy is a surrendering of the ego. You cannot have joy.
Kindness is the surrendering of the ego.
Okay.
So that you're much less important, and you bring joy by just by surrendering your ego, and that Tagore quote just is a perfect illustration of that.
I apologize, John. I have nothing very intelligent to say, as my computer and I got into a little bit of a fight while you were talking.
I understand.
I apologize.
Service. The act of
Yes,
service.
yes.
Surrendering of ego. Setting one's self somewhat aside.
Right. And that goes back to the 5 to 6 elements of a spiritual life that we talk about, that it is not about us. You're not going to get joy by seeking pleasure.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's a rough one, isn't it? You're not going to get joy by seeking pleasure. You're going to find joy by doing good. Go ahead, Michael, and then Bob. Thank you, John.
So what you're giving up, what I would be giving up for joy, would be anger.
Oh, wow, yeah. We'd have to give up anger to have joy.
And what I would be lost, because that mask means if you have joy, what do you lose?
Yep.
Is that what you mean by your mask?
What is it that what is a problem that you will have by gaining joy? A new problem you will have that you never had before?
Never had before. Well, I don't know about that. But I think if you can give up this disappointment that it's not longer lived.
Yeah, we do seem to find. Well, maybe we find pleasure in being disappointed, but we can't find joy that way.
Yeah, joy is like awe.
Yeah.
Insight.
Insight?
Insight, yeah. Understanding something that really opens, loosens the bond.
I just made a note that joy can't be had by seeking pleasure.
Good for you. What do you mean?
You can't find joy by seeking pleasure. We find joy by doing the right thing. Go ahead, Lynn.
I just said, unless it's ice cream.
Well, there's an exception, especially for drumsticks. Those have a special dispensation. Those are fine. Bob, and then Ann.
Yeah. Joy is, in my opinion, joy is life, and going through it, and even the hard times, the joy of accomplishing something, and that just living can be an experience in joy.
It can be, and I'm back to this original quote that finding joy is not easy for us to handle. I think that's really fucked up, but I think it's really insightful. It's really hard for us to handle joy.
Sometimes because we might feel we don't deserve it.
Amen. Amen. Go ahead, Ann Swanson.
Happiness is a solid, and
yes.
It's kind of heavy. I could throw it at you, but I might miss and hit you in the face, and you'd have a scar, and it would hurt. But joy is a liquid. I could pour it all over your head, and you would feel good. So a liquid, I can share a liquid with you much more easily.
Right, a liquid is adaptable. It doesn't have hard edges. Yeah, I love that, and it's the density is all different. I'd love to hear from some folks who we haven't heard from. What do you find hard about taking in joy? If you were to take in joy, you might have the problem of, and then I have another quote if I can squeeze another one onto my page here. Oh, come on, Rabbi, go, Rabbi Powers. Here it is. I have this. This is a beautiful quote from Theodore Roosevelt. He said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." And I'm not quite sure if you like to see it that way, or I have it the same thing but a little bit more colored in. Comparison is the thief of joy. Or if you don't like either of those, I have it written this way here. Comparison is the thief of joy. And
Joy.
Well played.
Comparison.
Oh, oops! Did I do that? As soon as right, but I was making a point that as soon as we spend our time comparing the one to the other, we lose the brilliance of the quote. So forget how it's written, and let's just look at it. Comparison is the thief of joy. That's the one you like the best? Good. What does that mean, comparison is the thief of joy? Let me ask it differently. If comparison is the thief of joy, then blank would help me to stop that thief. If comparison is the thief of joy, gratitude, acceptance. Gratitude and acceptance will keep joy from being stolen.
That's good.
Whoever said that's good, extra points to you. You're winning. And anyone else who didn't get the points, who's feeling bad by comparison, right? Seriously.
I'll share my points with them.
I wasn't really giving out the points, Lynn. But did you notice for a second, and I hope you did, if I give praise to Lynn for winning the game, do you lose?
No.
Well, not you, Lynn. You're the one who got the points.
I know, but I'm sharing my imaginary points, which were not really given to me, with everybody.
There you are.
Actually, all those of us who thought the same thing but didn't say them.
Right. Right. Comparison is the thief of joy. I can think of an exception to this rule, that comparison is the thief of joy. And I can make a strong case that comparison can be a giver of joy.
Ooh.
If you think for a moment about your life and compare it to the life of our dear friend Joe, who's suffering greatly, that comparison does not rob me of joy. Sorry, Joe.
It's
But the comparison, if you compare in a jealous way, it's a thief of joy. But if you compare in a different way, you can really find deep gratitude for what I have. I never lived in a place that, unbeknownst to me, was a radioactive dump. Okay. Boy, do y'all feel the mood shift there?
Yes.
I'm just pointing it out. Other thoughts on joy?
That's important, though. That's important because I think that's one of the huge lessons that is going to make this. I mean, it's not going to be. It's going to be hard, no matter what. Like that's just the way it's going to be. It's going to be hard. But I think when you go through hard things, you have an option about how to maneuver them.
Mm.
And I'll be damned if I don't hug that man until the last breath he takes.
Yeah.
And no one's going to steal me of the opportunity to have the joy of that man's skin until I can't do it.
Yeah.
No, but that's a choice I have to make.
Yeah. You're gonna suck.
No one that would argue with me if I wanted to swim and cry in a swamp of tears because it's justifiable. But it won't help me. Joy will help me through.
Yeah.
And the swamp of tears will be there too. Ray's not here, and I didn't want to use this without his permission, but it's so appropriate. When we were talking about bringing joy to today, Ray said, rainbows don't come without rain.
Yeah.
And so you can't see rainbows unless there's water. And so then he said, I wonder if that's like that with our tears. That we can't see the rainbows unless we let the tears be there.
Yeah.
And I thought, in light of Ray's just lost his wife.
Yep.
And I thought, if Ray can do that, I can do that too.
Beautiful.
Joe, you got some amens happening there in the chat. I have one last quote on joy that I brought, which says this, and I think it might fit with what you were just saying, Joe. It says, focus on the journey, not the destination. Joy is found not in finishing an activity, but in doing it. Yeah, Rita.
Well, I just went back in time slightly. My husband Stuart died in 2017, and we knew it was coming. And we had about 4 months before he passed away. And we had the most loving experience during that time. Before that, we could bicker. We were good at it, actually, but we could let go of it and just feel the love. And I am still ever so thankful for that time.
That's beautiful, Rita. Thank you for sharing that.
So I wish you that.
Thank you, Rita. I'm just looking at the time, and there's an announcement that I want to make. Office hours is not happening this week. Service planning committee is not happening this week. I am not meditating online this week. This next week coming up, I am going on vacation, and they double dog dared me not to bring my computer. And so I'm bringing my computer. And it's like a security blanket. I'm not taking it out of the bag, but I'm bringing it with me. And I have an announcement to make. We didn't do this here it is. There it goes. It's coming into focus.
Okay.
To be okay.
I think we'll leave this on the screen for a moment because we need to remember this hard. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to be a mess. It's okay to be broken. It's okay to be sad. I'm going to add in, it's also okay to have some joy. Good. I'm going to put all y'all on the screen if I can remember the keystroke for that. No, I can't. Oh, there's everybody. Take another look at each other before next week. If you want to be in touch with each other, please go on to Facebook, find the Religion Outside the Box page. We have a private Facebook group there, and you can find each other. Thank you all for participating. Can we do a wave? Look at everyone, give a wave. Thank you for being here. I'm going to end the recording.